Welcome to the Smartlight Indicator product introduction. In this video, we're going to talk primarily about the Smartlight Indicator itself and the applications. So here we'll give a little overview of the Smartlight Indicator. First thing you notice is it is triangle shaped. It's actually called a rouleau triangle. It's a French word. I might be mispronouncing that, so we'll put the spelling there on the screen so you can see it. So pardon if I mess that up, but obviously you can see it's got a triangle shape. So this shape is really nice for giving indications. So if I wanted to show maybe something left, right, up, I can do that pretty easily with this. You can see the 6 segments pretty clearly. In the center, you'll see always a black dot. That's an IR filter. We have one version with a photo eye in it for Pictolite applications, and there's another one without that sensor, but it still has the filter on it. So it kind of looks exactly the same, one with a sensor and one without a sensor. Now it gets a little interesting on the back side. If you see on the back side here we have a M22 mounting hole. It's different than our 18 millimeters and other things, and I'll explain why that is. When I showed you the segments on the other side, you see we have obviously a segment 1, and if you're using it for certain applications, you have to know where segment 1 is. So on the back side, it might be very hard to see. We have a keyway here. I'm pointing to it. The keyway is there for orientation. So if I want to know exactly where segment 1 is pointing, I'm able to do that. Now in applications where you may not need that knockout, or that keyway, excuse me, we have a lockout washer that would go over it and simply null out that keyway. If I use this lockout washer, then I need to use the thicker gasket. This is a bit thicker gasket, so if I'm putting this in a panel, I need to seal it. I'm going to use that thicker gasket. And if I'm not using that feature, I'm going to use the thinner gasket. And then I'm going to use the orientation tab so I can orient the light so it's pointing in the correct direction. Here you can kind of see the bracketry and all that. Here's an example of a bracket. This is for Pictolite applications for tube mounting. You can see the keyways in there. So if I want this segment 1 to point up, I'm orienting the tab, drop it in. You can see it locks in right to segment 1. I could move the segments to other locations as required for any application that may come about. So we'll talk a bit about some of the accessories. It does have, as I mentioned, the 28 millimeter mounting hole. Here you can see a bracket for tube mounting. This is typical in flow racks. This is the 28 millimeter standard tubes. A lot of manufacturers make them. You can see how it mounts, just kind of clamps on. I have it very loose now, that's why I'm rotating it. As soon as you clamp it, it gets very tight for tube flow rack. This is our standard BMS rod mount system. You can see how this piece attaches to the rod, so there you can mount the Smartlight Indicator any way you want on a rod system. And of course your typical angle bracket with the keyways, and a straight bracket for straight mounting with the keyways so you can orient it. And then there will be a special adapter kit for the tower stanchions. Same as the Smartlight tower light goes on those tall stanchions. We'll have a version as well that can fit on that with the keyway in there as well. It'll be the M22 sized as well. Okay, so now what I've done is I've taken our Smartlight indicator and I've programmed it for demo mode. So now we're going to enter demo mode. Demo mode is an interesting mode if you want to show colleagues or show other people in your company how this thing could work, and maybe have some new process ideas based on that. So again, what we'll do is we won't really use IO-Link. We'll just use a simple prox tester. We'll hook up the prox tester to the indicator light, and what it's going to do is come up immediately in what's called color wheel mode. The color wheel mode is interesting. It simply shows off the colors. It's in some pattern where it's constantly shifting all the colors into a neat pattern. Certainly gives you an idea what the light can do. That mode's also available for applications. So if you would want to use that for your application or whatnot, you certainly can. Now what we'll do is we'll step through all the different modes of the Smartlight indicator. This is done by the sensor that's built in the front. If you do have an indicator without the sensor, it will step through based on the timing. So it'll just go through at its own pace. It's kind of annoying actually. I like to show it off with a sensor here because then I can flip it into different modes. So here it's in just a single segment blue mode. showing you this one segment. Now if I put my hand over it, you can see it. Whenever you hold your hand on it, it is going to go white, so it gives you that idea of your sensing range, so you can understand your sensing range and all that. Kind of nice in the demo mode. Here it's simple 2-segment mode. I do it again and she'll go to 6 segments. So again, showing you how the segments may work. Now I do it again, it's going to go into run light mode. Again, similar to the Smartlight tower that we have now. This is simply indicating it's waiting, pausing, something like that. 2 different modes for this. It has a chasing tail mode and it also has a standard mode. So here I think that it's chasing its tail. You can see the white background, green chasing. So again, a simple wait mode. Advance it again. Now it's in what's called level mode. It doesn't look so much like a level here. It's more of a dial here. And here we have it set up that you can do 720-degree rotation. That's 2 laps around the light. Or you can do simple 360, 1 lap around the light. And here you can program the colors as it goes. What's nice about this is at a glance you can kind of see where you're at with your process variable. So it is good. You can kind of get a good quick glance and see what's going on with the simple level mode. Okay, our Smartlight indicators have this expansion mode. Now what expansion mode does is we have our lead indicator light, and so from the IO-Link port it comes into, of course, pin 4 like any standard IO-Link device. But when you program this for expansion mode, then it turns on its pin 2 here, and pin 2 outputs another IO-Link signal. It comes into our dedicated splitter, gets reconnected back to the other one, and comes back in pin 2 again over here. So it's very critical you get the specific splitter that are listed as the accessories for our Smartlight indicator, because it has that turnaround feature, taking pin 2 here and putting it onto pin 4 of the secondary. And then when you put both of them in expansion mode, basically it looks like a double Smartlight indicator. So the data blocks doubled. You have all the information available to you to program both independently. Again, there's totally independent from each other, different modes. They can be set up different ways. There's no limitations when you do expansion mode other than you're saving your ports. So it's a nice, clean, efficient way. You can see very nice for pick-to-light systems. You have different bins here, and then one cable can snake back. You can run a cable back. Very clean wiring for a lot of applications. So that was our IO-Link Smartlight indicator. Again, two products, one with and without photo eye, very powerful units. We do have a complete flyer on the Smartlight family. It's just come out, so that includes our Smartlight Tower Light, includes flexible mode for the Smartlight Tower Light if you haven't seen that, and it also includes the Smartlight indicators that you just saw. Of course, we have product briefs. And also I want to mention the other application videos that we have. You're viewing the product introduction, so we also have a video on pick-to-light applications. Pretty interesting. We also have one for panel mounting. So if you want to mount this in a panel, exactly how that looks and how that might work. And then we also have one for operator guidance. So if you're looking to guide an operator, maybe size change, that kind of thing, we have an application video for that as well. So please check those out.